CBC Sports presents live from Belmont Park in Belmont, New York, the 109th running of the Belmont Stakes.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Labatt's Breweries of Canada Limited, brewers of Labatt's Blue and Labatt's 50 Ale.
The star of our show early this morning in the stable area at Belmont Park. Seattle Slew, purchased at a yearling at a public auction for $17,500. His owners have turned down $10 million for him. Seattle Slew stands just over 16 hands tall and weighs 1,200 pounds, and as he approaches the biggest athletic moment of his life, is in very fit condition. That and his success is due in great part to this self-effacing young man, Bill Turner, Jr., who, against overwhelming criticism, lightly raced and trained Seattle Slew for the rigors of the Triple Crown campaign. As he comes to Belmont Day, he is a very fit horse. Seattle Slew, of course, hopes to join this very selective group of thoroughbreds who have won the Triple Crown. It all began in 1919 with Sir Barton. Then there was a gap until 1930 till we had our second, and that was Gallant Fox. But the 30s started to produce Triple Crown winners. 5 years later, it was the Great Omaha winning the 3 races. And then in 1937, War Admiral. If the 30s were productive in Triple Crown winners, the 40s were even more so. In 1941, with the young Eddie Arcaro aboard, it was the magnificent Whirlaway. 2 years later, in 1943, with Johnny Longden aboard, Count Fleet. 3 years later, in 1946, with World War II just completed, Assault won the Triple Crown. And in 1948, with Arcaro again up, the magnificent Citation. It seemed that Triple Crowns could be won every 2 or 3 years. But after Citation, it was a gap of 25 years till we had another one. Many tried and won the first 2, like the great Tim Tam and Kauai King and Majestic Prince. But then it was 73.
They're on the turn. Its Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 109 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today, as My Gallant and Slice of Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 1/16 of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that is impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Slice of Prince has taken second, and My Gallant has moved back to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front. It's going to be Slice of Prince second, My Gallant third, Private Smiles fourth, and Sham, who had it today.
Well, those of us who were fortunate enough to be here on that afternoon 4 years ago will never forget the excitement and the drama and the emotion as Secretariat captured a nation's heart. Phyllis, you weren't there for that one. We're glad to have you here for Seattle Slew's Day, but Frank, you were, and we may have another one coming right on top of it.
Well, Jack, it's a happening. Whenever a colt comes to the third leg of the Triple Crown undefeated, that's the situation today, and the candidate is Seattle Slew.
Do you have a feeling that this is a little different day around the racetrack, Phyllis?
It's so much excitement and tension in the air today. There are 900 people from the press all around the world gathered here today, the largest contingent ever. You know, bumper stickers, buttons, T-shirts with Seattle Slew on them, babies, children, adults, everyone's here to enjoy this wonderful day. We've had entertainment, Mary Travers, geez, I could go on, and I am certainly glad to be a part of this historical event.
Well, we're glad to have you here, Phyllis. Enjoy it, because it's going to be a day to remember.
For sure.
Another one of our colleagues, Chic Anderson, now to run down the field for the 109th running of the Belmont Stakes.
Now let's take a close look at today's field for the Belmont Stakes. Number 1, Hey Hey JP, was a late scratch from this race. That left the other half of the entry. Number 1A, Make Amends. His best credentials might be trainer Johnny Campo and Triple Crown winner Ronnie Turcotte. The 2 horses Run Dusty Run. He likes any kind of racetrack, and today he has the services of California's Sandy Hawley. You might see these familiar bright gold and red silks. He probably will be close to the pace he's drawn the inside post. Number 3, Iron Constitution. This is truly a come-from-behind horse, and he has the services of a top rider, Angel Cordero Jr. Iron Constitution will be wearing the beige and blue sash that you see here. 4 is Sir, definitely an outsider in this race. He's been in all 3 of the Triple Crown races so far and is yet to be very close. Ruben Hernandez aboard. 5 is, of course, Seattle Slew. The great Seattle Slew, undefeated coming into this race, trying for the Triple Crown, the same combination again of trainer Billy Turner and Jean Cruguet. 6 is leading scorer, and he's a scratch in this race. 7, Sanhedrin, very familiar, the silks of Darby Dan Farm. That's fawn and brown, and he has jockey George Velasquez, considered to be one of the best in the world at riding at 1.5 miles. Number 8, Mr. Red Wing. He's an outsider. He has a top trainer, Leroy Jolly, and a top rider, Jacinto Vasquez. Completing the field, very familiar, Meadow Stud and Spirit Level. Spirit Level just beat Sanhedrin a little over a week ago. Maybe a contender today, an outsider, though, under Tony Grail. That's the field for the Belmont Stakes. Now, here are the odds in the Belmont Stakes as they are presently posted on the infield board. Number 1A, Make Amends, now at 35 to 1. Number 2, Run Dusty Run, is 7 to 2. Number 3, Iron Constitution, 9 to 2. Number 4, Sir, a big 60 to 1. Then we come to Seattle Slew, even money at this point, a little higher than most thought. The 6 horse was scratched. Number 7 is Sanhedrin at 4 to 1. Third, then it's number 8, Mr. Red Wing, at 50 to 1. And finally, number 9, Spirit Level, at this moment, 11 to 1. And we'll be right back with Haywood Hale-Broon with a look at the press box.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular features live the WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship with defending champion Victor Galindez defending his title against Richie Cates. That's the WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship live next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
Well, the Belmont Stakes, being the 3rd jewel of the Triple Crown, is always set up beautifully by the first 2, the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. And Frank, this year, as in the year of Secretariat, too, going into the Derby, there was an awful lot of criticism about the horse, about the way he was trained. Many people thinking that perhaps he was too lightly trained, that, as you people say, he had no bottom. And would you say that's a true evaluation of the situation in May?
Very well put, Jack. Billy Turner should be credited, now has been credited for taking the pressure. And axiomatically, Jack, lightly trained horses usually respond by giving you lots of speed. If an Achilles heel shows up from that kind of preparation, it could be an endurance. But this horse hasn't failed in that test either.
And as we know, Seattle Slew had a very miserable start in the Derby, had the worst of it, and could very well have finished way down the field. Let's take a look at it now. The 1977 running of the Kentucky Derby as Seattle Slew passed his first big test. Here it is.
Jack, for a speed horse, next to being mugged, the worst thing happened. He broke with his head turned. There he is behind a wall of horses. And Cruguet, with a handful of eager animal,
look at this,
forces, finds, whatever description you want to get, it has been called bumped, pushed his way through, and for the moment, Jack, and here's the important point, for the moment, under a full head of steam after a good start, has a running lead on him. And finally, he comes and collars him here after they've gone about 3/16 of a mile, and that's a tough way to catch a leader.
Coming down the stretch, it was for the moment, and Seattle Slew, but when Cruguet asked him for a move, he had it, and he makes it here. But now he's getting a challenge on the outside from Run Dusty Run and Sanhedrin.
Well, they were set up by the rabbit that didn't belong to them. For the moment, had supposedly softened them up. They made their late challenge in vain, and he hangs on to be a length and a half victor in the Kentucky Derby.
And, of course, with those other two horses looking as if they were closing ground, the doubt still remained, and people were saying in a longer race, as, for instance, the Belmont, that he could be caught. But first of all, he did take a very good horse in For the Moment, who had the best of it in the start, and put him away, didn't he?
He did that, and Jack, the predictions for Pimlico, for the Preakness, were that there's even a better rabbit, Cormorant, and that would soften him and get his goose.
Well, let's see what happened in the Preakness, which was run 2 weeks later. Cormorant, indeed, is a very good speed horse, and on this race, Seattle Slew broke from the outside in gate number 8 and has to catch Cormorant in the early going for the short turn.
And again, his speed adversary, Cormorant, a good start, the advantage of the post position on the rail. Seattle Slew had to angle across, get in position before the sharper turns that we know exist at Pimlico. He did that, and he collared a game Cormorant here.
And they ran better, a little more than a mile, almost head-to-head, before Seattle Slew turned and said goodbye. Now he's getting from the outside a challenge from Iron Constitution.
Another challenge by a latecomer, another situation set up by a fine speed horse, and still in vain.
But he will face today here at the Belmont a challenge again from Run Dusty Run, from Sanhedrin, and from Iron Constitution. But what we do know as to this moment, he did put away For the Moment in the Derby. He put away Cormorant in the Preakness, and now his challenge today, I suspect, would be from those late runners and the longer distance people.
I don't think he'll be entertained on the front end like he was in those 2 legs of the Triple Crown.
There's always been something here, too, that the horse that has the lead at the quarter pole here in the Belmont for the last quarter of a mile usually wins.
Last year it was Bull Forbes. He hung on to do it, and it has been the tradition. It has been the fact.
So this is an honest horse, Seattle Slew. He has won his credentials honestly, gamely, gallantly, and with an awful lot of talent. And we're here, of course, today to see if he can do the ultimate. We'll be back for the 109th running of the Belmont in just a moment. One of the loveliest places in all of the world of sports, the Paddock here at Belmont, while we await the arrival of the horses for the 109th running of the Belmont Stakes. With me, 2 of the co-owners of Seattle Slew, Mickey Taylor and Dr. Jim Hill. You're going to be asked questions you've been being asked for the last 6 weeks here. How do you feel, Mickey?
I feel great. You know, the colt's doing well, and we're confident, and, you know, he'll run well.
Doctor, let me ask you now, in hindsight, you paid $17,500 for Seattle Slew as a yearling. In hindsight, it's been a tremendous bargain. What was it you saw in him as a yearling that said, let's buy him?
Well, Jack, the first thing I can say is he had the potential to be a great athlete. Everything was there. And when he walked out of the stall, I just had that feeling that this was the right horse. I'll tell you, I'd like very much to thank the breeders of Seattle Slew, Edie and Ben Castleman. They weren't able to be here today, and we're just wishing they were here and wishing them the best of luck.
We wish them the best of luck, too. You enjoy this because we're all enjoying it for them, I'll tell you that. Mickey, you said yesterday you'll wait till tomorrow morning to make a decision on whether Seattle will run as a 4-year-old. Now, let's say that he wins today and he comes out healthy. Against the economic conditions of thoroughbred racing today, you've already turned down a lot of money for this horse. Why are you making this decision? Why would you make this decision?
Well, we owe a lot to the game, or the business, or... And also, you know, Slew's been very good to us. And if we can return something that we've felt and have out of, you know, for next year, you know, it's great. We'd like, if he comes back sound, we're going to stop on him for a while, and we'll run him as a 4-year-old. Like you said, economically, we're crazy. But you have to do the right thing, and we're having the time of our life. And money isn't everything. The horse race business needs 4-year-olds to run, and the breeders have to remember you can't retire them too early.
Well, that's very nice to hear. Thank you, Mickey, for that. Thank you for Seattle Slew. Any final words before we let you go off and be nervous by yourself?
No, sir. We'll be nervous, all right.
All right. Thank you so much. Mickey Taylor, Dr. Jim Hill, co-owners of Seattle Slew. Let's go now to Frank Wright.
Well, Jack, the horses are a little late coming to the paddock, and you know the reason. The trainers are playing the percentage. This isn't like a fighter trying to make another fighter nervous by his late arrival, but the paddock is often a place where a horse can get a little stirred up. This happened to Seattle Slew in Florida this winter. I know his trainer, Billy Turner, is concerned that everything is quiet and that he comes out of here with the dry look, because that's what you want when you leave the paddock here at Belmont Park or anywhere. This is a very quiet paddock. It has an aura about it that seems to give horses confidence, but we still will have to watch. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. We'll have to see how Seattle Slew responds. Jack, I think you can see them out there. How are they doing? But Phyllis, George, where are you placed?
Well, I'm standing here, and I feel like I'm standing between two black-eyed Susans. These lovely ladies, I'm sure you'll recognize, is Karen Taylor on my right and Sally Hill on my left. They play a very important part of the Seattle Slew family. They're both co-owners along with their husbands, and it is that, girls, isn't it? It is a family.
Well, we have a big family. We not only have the Gators and the Loggers here, but we also have Mike Kennedy, the exercise boy, and Donald, the hot walker, John, the groom, and naturally Billy and Jean. We're all very much a part of this horse, and we've lived with them now for quite a while and are really good friends.
You know, I've had an opportunity to spend time with the Hills and the Taylors. They're such wholesome, down-to-earth people. I must tell you that to your faces. And it's interesting because they all play an important part in the role of Seattle Slew's career. Isn't that right, Sally?
Well, we try to, yeah.
What exactly do you do? Do you make decisions together?
Basically, I think we do. Of course, Karen and I have always said that the boys have a great ability to ignore us in most things, and I think they listen to us as long as they want to listen. I would say that the boys with Billy pretty much make the decisions.
You're very close as a family. I know, not only as friends and co-workers, but you travel together. You're family. You're like your kin, aren't you?
Well, we're living together, so I guess you can't get much closer. No, certainly. We've been very fortunate that everyone over this past 4 or 5 months has gotten along beautifully, you know. And it's kind of hard. There's a lot of pressure at times, but it's such fun to be under such pressure.
I can't even stand to hear you say under such pressure. You look as fresh as a daisy today, and you've kind of come upon the public like this, like a burst of lightning, and you've maintained your coolness and your poise throughout it all. I commend you both for it.
Thank you very much. It's sort of easy. Well,
now, these dresses, I must tell you all, are their good luck dresses. You wore them at the Derby, the Preakness, and today. Good luck. Are you nervous? They asked the husbands.
I'm going to be in about 5 minutes as soon as the horse enters the paddock here.
And you have a right to be. Karen?
My heart's in my stomach. Slew's always very cool, calm, and collected. Fortunately, he's the star.
That's right, as are the owners. Now let's go to Frank Wright.
Well, Phyllis, I'm right here with the Darby Dan horse, Sanhedrin, did I say it right? And trainer Lou Rondinello.
Well, correct on both counts, Frank.
Lou, is your horse, he's quiet and he looks like he's a good paddock horse. Is that usually his way?
Yes, that's right.
And he's a little cool the first part of it, too, isn't he?
Yes, sit there and wait, you know, that sort of thing.
What do you think, honestly? Do the extra quarter of a mile?
Well, we're hoping, Frank. I'd trade this horse and race Little Carrington here if they let me, but I'm sure they won't. Seattle Slew's is a terrific horse, no question about it. We all know that, Frank. And I'm just hoping he can't go the mile and a half.
Well, and that therein might be the Achilles heel, and your horse will be running at the end. Thank you, Lou. I hope I haven't disturbed him, and nice to talk to you. The best of luck. Next door to Lou Rondinello's charge of Sanhedrin is Mr. Red Wing, trained by Leroy Jolly. Leroy, of course, you know, trained honest pleasure, foolish pleasure, and he can do more tricks with a Florida-bred racehorse than a magician can do with a bunny rabbit. Have you got a trick up your sleeve here, Leroy?
Well, I think we're going to need more than a trick here. This is a tough spot, but you never can tell. A mile and a half is an awful lot of sand, and sometimes they make it.
Well, it wouldn't be your first effort, Leroy. You have a shadow roll on this horse. I know across his nose, and the racing fans might be interested what a piece of equipment like that does.
Well, we tried him early in his 3-year-old year without it, and it seemed like he kind of jumped up and down like a rabbit all the way. And we tried it in the morning, and he smoothed off and leveled off and ran much smoother. So we kept it on him, and it seemed to improve him some.
And, of course, so many New York horses have the protective rundown bandages because this sand does burn a little bit.
Well, this is his first time with the rundown bandages in front, and he burned his heels here a little bit the other day, and we just thought we'd take a little precaution today with him.
Well, you know, I wish you good luck as always, Leroy.
Thank you, Frank.
And now, Phyllis George back in the center of the paddock.
This lovely lady, many of you, in fact, most of you will recognize Mrs. Penny Tweedy Rehnquist. Hi, Penny.
Hi, how are you, Phyllis?
I am terrific, and I have the chills along with everyone else out here. What an exciting day.
Isn't it a superb day? You know, this horse is so great, and he's so great for racing, and everybody is in New York out here, and I'm just thrilled.
You know, as standing in this same position under the same circumstances with, of course, the wonderful Secretariat, what Karen Taylor and Sally Hill must be feeling right now. And I just spoke with them, and they are a bit nervous.
Well, they have to know they have the best horse. But we all know in racing that anything can go wrong, and that's why we run races. And sure, they're nervous, but, you know, in another 20 minutes, everything's going to be fine.
Speaking of racing, you have a horse here. He just won the Peter Pan Stakes, Spirit Level. Any predictions for him?
Well, he's a nice horse, and we had expected that he'd be in the Triple Crown races, but he had a cough, and he had an ankle, and, you know, he was just delayed, and so we waited, and then when he won a stake 10 days ago, we thought, well, why not take a shot at second money, and if we placed the Slew, that'd be a great honor. And he is a nice horse. His sire won the Belmont. He's well-bred and
Quadrangle.
Quadrangle, yes. And he defeated Northern Dancer, but don't read anything into that.
Well, you sound like a proud mother, and you should be. A lot of people are saying, well, Stage Door Johnny did the same thing, came in and won it. But you're very positive about today's outcome, it sounds like.
It's awfully hard not to pick Seattle Slew to win this race. He is strong, he is courageous, he's got a lot of speed, and he doesn't overly extend himself. People knock him because he doesn't win big. Why should he? If you win, you win. That's it. And no, I think he's just got everything going for him, and I hope he does it.
You know, you're such a lovely lady, and what a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Penny. And now let's go back to Jack Whitaker.
Thank you very much, Phyllis. And you've just heard from some of the principals involved in today's battle against Seattle Slew. 70,000 people here. It's the second largest Belmont crowd. The first one, of course, was for Canyonero's year. And most of them are buzzing with activity and anticipation. Let's go back to the paddock now and a report from Frank Wright.
Well, as you look at the valet here waiting for Seattle Slew to come in, you see one of the factors in this paddock area. All these horses carry 126 pounds, and of course some of the riders don't weigh anywhere near that, and the difference in the weight is in lead pads that these gentlemen have brought out from the jockey's room. The riders have been previously weighed with them. All of it totals 126 pounds. This is not a handicap. Everybody takes fair weights, even weights, 126. Seattle Slew is late in arriving. That's understandable. He's had some bad paddock experiences in the early part of his career, and obviously Billy Turner does not want a repeat of that. He wants to keep him as quiet as he can. When he does come in here, you'll likely see a very quick performance. The trainer on the side I'm on, the valet on the other side, as they quickly put the tack on him. A horse over here to our left, number 7, Sanhedrin, has already been saddled. He has his 4 rundowns. He's being quietly led around so that he doesn't get stayed in the stall, and he's got to wait for his adversary to come up here and get the tack put on him. Jack Whitaker, they're waiting till the last possible minute, but we should be back here with the actual saddling of the heavy favorite any moment.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. There was, as Frank pointed out, a little incident at the Kentucky Derby with Seattle Slew, but then at the Preakness, where they saddled outside, there was no problem. And we don't want to read anything in here yet that might not be there, but it is really a little bit unique that the star of the show is still in the dressing room, as it were, at this moment. Everybody else is there. As we said, the crowd out here on the other side of the grandstand buzzing away. They're packed down at the rail, and it reminds one here of the great days at Belmont. As I was about to say before, in the year of Canyonero, when they had the 82,000 here, there was no off-track betting. So 70,000 here in the face of off-track betting and some threatening weather this morning is a tremendous tribute to this horse and gives you some indication about what the people feel about him. The weather, as a matter of fact, looked as if it might be a problem. It has not yet been one. The track has been drying out by the minute. They have manicured it as best they can since early this morning. We had heavy rains here, over 2 inches in the last 2 days in New York. There's a storm out over Cape Cod that's stationary, and New York City and Belmont Track are on the western edge of it, and the winds just keep swirling around. We have had no rain yet today, but precious little sunshine, and at times it gets threatening. But right now it is cloudy and cool, and conditions, I would say, are almost ideal. We have here with us one of the great prognosticators in all of sporting history, Jimmy the Greek, and I wonder, Jimmy, at this time, if you could give us your thoughts on what might happen here this afternoon.
Something different can happen here today. I think that Smiley, the trainer of Run Dusty Run, will challenge Seattle Slew right from the beginning. He hasn't been able to beat the horse from behind, so I think he's definitely going to challenge the horse right from the start. And it's going to make it a different race. Either Run Dusty Run will make Seattle Slew throw out the bit and go on and win it, or Run Dusty Run won't be in the money.
All right. How about the rest of the field? Obviously, you're a Seattle Slew man.
No, definitely. I think Seattle Slew will run the first mile in about 1:36 and 2, and then at the 3/8 pole, he'll set him down and go on and win it. I think Arn Constitution will come on and be second. And a long shot, Jolly's horse, Mr. Redwig, will probably photo out Sanhedrin for third. Now, that's my opinion. But that depends, of course. Now, don't forget that this kind of a track moves Run Dusty Run up because he's a Duster Commander colt, you know, and he does like the mud. But I think they're definitely going to either win it or be out.
All right. Thank you very much, Jimmy. They're still listing the track as muddy, although it is drying out, but it's still officially listed as muddy.